Okay, let's talk about something that drives every student crazy. How do you actually study? I mean, really? Because it's not about the hours you're parked at a desk, right? It's about what you get out of those hours. So let's dive in. All right, check this out. Picture two students. Student A studies for, about half an hour a day, gets 8 hours of sleep, has a social life, and still pulls grades in the top 5% of the class. Then you've got student B. This person is a machine, studying 4 hours a day, running on fumes, barely seeing friends, and is just fighting to get a B. So what gives? How is that even possible? And I'll tell you what it's not. It's not about being smarter. It's not even about working harder, clearly. No, the secret. It's all in the strategy. But before we get to the good stuff, I want you to do something for me, real quick. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your study methods right now? Just be honest. Go ahead, pick a number. You got it? Cool. Just tuck that number away for a bit. We're going to come back to it. Now, to really understand this, I got to tell you a story. And believe me, it's not about some big success. Nope. It's about the time I failed hard. I can still picture it. It was like 3 in the morning. My desk was a total disaster zone of coffee cups. I've been cramming for this big psychology exam for, get this, 12 hours straight. I mean, I felt like I was the most dedicated student on the planet. And then I got the grade back. And I bombed it. Just completely failed. And that was my wake-up call. It hit me like a ton of bricks. I literally had no idea how to study. And that experience, it's the perfect example of what I call the consumption trap. You know what I'm talking about, right? It's that feeling that if you're just around your books, you must be learning. It's when you cover every single page in highlighter until it's glowing, or you reread the same paragraph 100 times, or my personal favorite, you spend an hour building the perfect study playlist instead of actually, studying. We trick ourselves into thinking that time spent equals knowledge gained, but it just doesn't work that way. So yeah, that failure was painful, but it was exactly what I needed. It forced me to completely rethink everything. I realized I had to stop counting the hours and start focusing on the one thing that actually matters, retention. And it all boiled down to this one simple, powerful idea. Think of it like a formula. Real learning is the amount of info you study times how well you retain it. And here's the kicker. If your retention rate is basically 0, it doesn't matter if you study for 1,000,000 hours. 0 times 1,000,000 is still 0. Just look at this. It lays it out so clearly. You see those two students? They both end up with the exact same amount of effective learning. That's what that little shared bar represents. But look at the difference. The student on the left poured in 5 hours to get there. The one on the right, just 1 hour. They got the same result and saved 4 hours of their life by studying smarter, not longer. That right there is the entire game.
Okay, so the big question is, how do we crank up that retention rate? The answer, my friends, is something called active learning. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this one simple shift literally cut my study time in half, while my grades went through the roof.
Here's the best way to think about it. Passive studying, rereading, highlighting, that's like trying to fill a bucket that's just riddled with holes. You can stand there all day pouring water into it, but most of it is just going to leak right out. It's useless. But active learning, that's like patching the holes first. Instead of just letting information wash over you, you're actually doing things with it. You're trying practice questions, explaining a concept to a friend, or connecting it to your own life. You're not just a consumer anymore. You're an active participant.
And you want to know what happened? The results were, they were insane. Seriously, my retention rate went from like a pathetic 10% all the way up to 70%. We're not talking about a tiny little bump here. This was a total transformation, a complete game changer.
All right, I know what you're thinking. Okay, great story, but what do I do? How do I actually start doing this? Well, don't worry. I'm not going to leave you hanging. I've got the exact 6-step plan for you, and you can start using it, like today. Okay, here we go. Step 1, no more marathon sessions. Keep them short and focused, like 30 to 60 minutes. Step 2, this one's weird but powerful. Test yourself before you review. It's the fastest way to find out what you don't know. Which leads to step 3, focus on those weak spots. Don't waste time on what you already get. Step 4, this is the core. Use those active methods we talked about, flashcards, practice quizzes, explaining it out loud to your cat, whatever works. Step 5, connect the dots. Link whatever you're learning to something you already understand. It builds bridges in your brain. And last but not least, step 6, do a super quick review right before you go to sleep. It's because your brain is basically a hard drive that backs itself up while you're sleeping. It's a total hack. Okay,
So we've talked about the big illusion, the magic formula, and a real concrete plan. Now, let's bring it full circle.
Remember that number I asked you to write down at the beginning? The one rating your study habits? Go find it. Look at it again. Now, after hearing all of this, be honest. Does your old way of doing things still deserve that score? My guess is probably not. And you know what? That's awesome. That means you're already ready to level up.
So I'll leave you with this one last question. What's the first active thing you're going to do? Seriously, just one thing. Are you going to make some flashcards? Or maybe try explaining one tricky chapter to someone? Because at the end of the day, listening to this is great, but the real magic happens when you actually do it. So, what's it going to be?